President Trump using tariffs as a penalty against Mexico in an attempt to try to force the country to stem the record flow of illegal migrants into our country from the southern border. Now, so far, this is being met with pretty mixed reviews. And right now, Mexico's foreign minister is en route to D.C. in hopes of meeting with White House officials. You know, the idea here is if they can't figure this out, if Mexico can't stop this somehow by June 10th, then you will see a 5% tariff. And those tariffs will keep increasing if the administration decides that Mexico's not doing enough, all the way up to 25% tariffs by October 1st. Now, as an economic journalist, I'm just going to point out something that should be obvious. And, you know, nobody likes tariffs. I agree, they're sometimes a good influencing tool, and they can help to influence behavior. But in this particular case, didn't we just do a deal, right, with Mexico and Canada? Isn't the vice president, you know, touting this deal with Trudeau right now? So if we just did a deal, why didn't anybody talk about this in the deal? Couldn't they have layered these tariffs into the deal itself? Not to mention that if you're trying to have leverage with China, then you might want to keep the pressure on China, because by now putting it on Mexico as well, this means any of those Chinese entities, American entities that were operating in China that were maybe thinking about moving to Mexico because, you know, it would balance out, you wouldn't have as much in the way of transportation costs, et cetera. Well, now suddenly that's not going to make as much sense. So maybe you have a little less leverage for China at a time that you kind of need it. Anyway, it's still a problem that we have this many people trying to cross illegally into our country, more than 500,000. But is tariffs really the right approach to deal with that? Joining me right now, former acting ICE Director Tom Homan. Tom, I know you're not an economist, so we don't have to get into the tariffs so much, but I want you to walk us through the problem and what you think Mexico can do in order to show that it is trying to stop the flow of all these illegal migrants into the U.S.
Well, Mexico needs to keep the promises to this country. Like every so often you hear Mexico's arresting this grouping, deporting them, or they're stopping people on the southern border in small numbers, or they've accepted a couple of thousand asylees from Central America. There's always a dog and pony show. There's no sustained operation in the country of Mexico. And look, if you look at the facts, you know, the criminal cartels are operating with impunity in Mexico. I mean, it's against the law in the country of Mexico to traffic women and children. But hundreds of thousands of women and children have been trafficked through Mexico in broad daylight, and nothing's being done about the criminal cartels that are controlling this. And the president's making the right move right now. I know it's controversial move, but it's the right move because we're at a critical time on our southern border, Trish. I mean, we're already releasing family units. We're releasing children because of court decisions and the Trafficking Victims Act. But we're at a crossroads right now where ICE is running out of money and beds, and we may be, they're at the point in the near future they may be releasing single adults. When they start releasing single adults, you lose the border.
Yeah,
yes.
Because a lot of these people that are coming through, as I understand it, are coming from Central America, right? So Mexico in some ways has kind of the same problem that we do, right? In other words, we can't control our border. Mexico can't control its border. So you get people coming up from Honduras, from Guatemala. Probably very soon you'll see people coming from Venezuela because they have a severe refugee migrant crisis there as a result of the economic challenges. And so everybody's going to be coming up. They come through Mexico to come to the U.S. What does Mexico need to do to stop them coming into Mexico in the first place? Do they need walls?
Well, they need to secure their southern border, but what they really need to do is dismantle the criminal cartels that are running these operations. Look, these people aren't coming up by themselves. I mean, thousands of people. Look, this group of 1,000 that was arrested a couple of days ago, that's not by accident. The cartels are pushing a group of 1,000 through one sector of the border so they can run their drugs and bad people through the other sector.
You know, it's our country. I mean, and I realize that the Democrats aren't so willing to help out on this one, but it is our country. And so, you know, theoretically, we should be policing our border. And yeah, Mexico can help. I don't disagree with that. But I do question, how exactly are we going to measure their help, Tom? In other words, if they, do they just need, does the president, does the administration need to see a little more love, a little more cooperation? Or are we going to say there are numerical, you know, examples of what we consider help?
We need to see sustained enforcement action. Look, ICE has several attaché offices with special agents, HSI, U.S. special agents in Mexico, that can watch what they're doing. They are not doing anything. So they need to at least show our country that they're enforcing at least their own laws to stop this trafficking of women and children. Look, this isn't a soft issue we can walk around. 31% of women are being raped. That's a Doctors Without Borders number. Children are dying. Criminal cartels are making billions of dollars. The same cartels that have murdered Border Patrol agents, murder special agents. Enough's enough. Mexico needs to step up and enforce
Tom,
their own laws.
I don't disagree with you. They need some law and order in Mexico. They could use a little in Honduras and in Ecuador and in Guatemala and the rest of these places, okay? But we also are responsible for ourselves. And to this, I get back to the Democrats and their unwillingness to actually enforce the border, something that they at one point believed in. And I look at this tariff plan and I question what kind of damage this is going to do to the U.S. Because if you see this ratchet up to 25% tariffs, okay, by October 1st, if we decide they're not doing enough, 25% tariffs means U.S. consumers are going to be paying for all that. So all that good stuff that we get in Mexico, we're going to be paying 25% more for.
Look, I agree with you. You've heard me say many times on this show and other shows, Congress had failed the American people. Chuck Grassley comes out against these tariffs. And Chuck Grassley would have did his job when we had the House, the Senate, and the White House and close these loopholes that have caused this. So Congress is number one to blame.
Yes.
But the president, Congress is not helping the president. The courts aren't helping the president. So this president is taking bold steps to secure this country. He's being a president and doing everything he can to protect the United States.
Look,
as far as the cost,
it's creative. I don't know if it's going to work, though. Okay, tell me, what do you think about the cost?
Trish, it doesn't matter. We are in a crisis. We are losing our sovereignty. United States citizens, we got enough angel moms and angel dads. We got enough of how much illegal immigration has cost this country $116 billion a year. So
police the border ourselves. Let's police ourselves, police the border, put the pressure on the Democrats to get the money you need, to do what you got to do, to make sure that we're secure.
Look, I've been up on the Hill for the last 2 years trying to get them to close loopholes. They are not doing it. They hate this president more than they care about the security of this country. They're not going to help. The courts aren't going to help. So this president is taking bold action, and I support him. You can't put a price on protecting America. You can't put a price on securing the border. There's no downside in securing the border. There's no downside unless illegal immigration. There's no downside unless drugs. So if it costs tariffs, if tariffs will help
I'm going to tell you this, though, Tom.
Then we need to do it.
If Americans are hurting come 2020, if the economy is not doing as well as it is right now because of things like 25% tariffs on anything coming in from Mexico, people are not going to be as willing. I'm just pointing that out, okay? We need a good economy to be talking about tariffs down there, especially when we just did a trade deal. Tom, it's good to see you. Thank you, as always, sir. Tom Homan.